Ka'b al-Ahbar was not just an ordinary Muslim, but he was a former Jewish rabbi who became an Islamic scholar. The companions or Sahaba would listen to his narration of hadith and tafsir or interpretation of the Quran, which significantly shaped the culture and religious understanding of many Muslims. Sometimes people could not distinguish between his words and those of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. For example, Abu Huraira would occasionally say, Ka'b said, and people would assume it was a saying of the Prophet. Okay, the saying of Ka'b, they put it as the saying of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This issue is crucial, especially considering the Sunni principle that the statements of the companions hold authoritative weight. Even if a companion does not explicitly say the Prophet said, their words are generally presumed to reflect the teachings of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But many of these narrations were influenced by Ka'b, not by Prophet. If we assume with good faith that Ka'b's conversion to Islam was sincere, the question is, how did he attain such a high status that he became a teacher to some of the companions? Okay, you can be an ordinary Muslim. You didn't see even the Prophet. You don't have knowledge of Islam. How you became a scholar and a teacher? Okay. Another companion, Abdullah ibn Umar ibn al-As, was known for narrating hadith. After the Battle of Tabuk, he acquired a vast collection of books from the people of the book, equivalent to what 2 camels could carry, according to the history. He also learned their language and began narrating from these sources. Some individuals advise him, don't narrate from the books, narrate only what you heard directly from the Prophet. But unfortunately, he continued narrate from that books. This arises a fundamental question: how can we differentiate between authentic prophetic traditions and narrations influenced by Jewish scriptures? For example, Sahih Bukhari includes a narration stating that God created the earth, or Allah created the earth in 7 days, whereas the Quran explicitly states 6 days or 6 periods of creation in Surah 7, verse 54. Commemorators or Mufassirin suggest that this narration might have been taken from Ka'b al-Ahbar and from Judaism. Ka'b was not only a religious figure, he was politically connected, particularly with Umar ibn al-Khattab. It is reported that Ka'b approached Umar and told him, prepare yourself, for you will die in 3 days. Umar indeed passed away on the 3rd day. So that time he asked Ka'b, how do you know? Is my name mentioned in the Torah? So you know it from Torah, that after 3 days I will die? Ka'b replied, your name is not mentioned, but your characteristics are. This raises a serious question. How did Ka'b currently predict Umar's assassination? Due to this incident, some historians believe that he played a role in Umar's murder. The circumstances of Umar's assassination also raise suspicions. His killer, Abu Lu'lu, was a slave of Mughayrat ibn Shu'bah, a close friend of Muawiyah from the Banu Umayyah. And who became caliph after Umar? Uthman, another Umayyad. Uthman was from Banu Umayyah, and he gave all the positions to Banu Umayyah. And in his time, Muawiyah became the ruler of Sham. Abu Lu'lu was not an independent actor. He was likely used by the Umayyads for their political agenda. Additionally, the common claim that his grave is in Iran is questionable. I mean the grave of Abu Lu'lu. He was killed in Medina and was buried there. And then Ibn Umar even killed Abu Lu'lu's brother and son. Okay, there is another person that it is good to speak about him, Humran ibn Abba, or Humran ibn Aban. It appears that beyond the visible rulers, a shadow government also existed. With the rise of Uthman, another key figure emerged. He was Humran ibn Aban. His name is often mispronounced as Humran ibn Aban because it was Abba. The original pronunciation is Humran ibn Abba. Humran is a well-known Jewish name. He changed his father's name to Aban to make it sound more Arabic and westernized, we can say. Umran was a Jew who, during the caliphate of Abu Bakr, was taken from a synagogue in the region of Ain Tamr. This synagogue had been seized by Khalid ibn Walid, where he found 40 children or teenagers studying with shaved heads. The existence of this group is documented in all historical sources that discuss the Islamic conquests. These children were taken to Medina and distributed among the people. Humran was given to Uthman and later became his scribe. During Uthman's caliphate, he became the most influential figure in the government. Contrary to popular belief, Marwan ibn Hakam was not the real power behind Uthman. Humran was. During the protests against Uthman, he agreed to reform and even wrote a letter of repentance. But Humran secretly forged another letter in Uthman's name, ordering the killing of the protesters. When the letter was intercepted, chaos erupted, ultimately leading to Uthman's assassination. You know, Imam Ali described Uthman's rule in Sermon 3 of Nahj al-Balagha, or the Khutbah Shaqshaqiyya, or Shaqshaqiyya sermon. He said, the third one of them thrived between his kitchen and his lavatory, and the relatives of his father swallowed up the wealth of Allah like a camel devouring the spring's vegetation. This indicates that neither Uthman nor Banu Umayyah truly governed. They simply exploited public wealth. So who actually ruled? Who was the real ruler? Humran. Humran was deeply respected by Muawiyah and Marwan and their descendants. Muawiyah even wore his clothes to honor him. Okay, what is the story of the 40 children and their influence? It is highly unusual that all 40 children or their descendants attained prominent positions. For instance, Hassan al-Basri, a major figure in early Sufism, his father was one of the 40 and was originally Jewish. Muhammad ibn Sirin, a famous dream interpreter, his father was among the 40. Musa ibn Nusayr, a military commander who conquered Andalus or Andalusia, descended from them. Ibn Ishaq, author of the most famous seerah of the Prophet, his grandfather Yasar was one of them. This raises significant concerns. Why was the synagogue emptied, leaving only these 40 children? Was this an intentional effort to plant them within the Muslim community to alter Islamic culture? It's an important question. For example, Ibn Ishaq was criticized for relying heavily on Jewish sources in his biography of the Prophet. How did he gain such access to Jewish sources? Each of these 40 individuals either held a political position or a religious one.